In the 80s, it was just a rival.
Just a rival.
It was just competition. It was all about who is making bigger movies.
He doesn't rant. He doesn't explode. Arnold just nods, then remembers. And when you're out, you stay out.
I just want everyone to know, this is all dialogue. This is rhetoric. The left going after the right going after the left.
For decades, Schwarzenegger didn't just dominate the box office, he reshaped what a leading man looked like. A bodybuilder turned icon, a politician turned legend. But behind the action and the grin, there's something colder, his ability to remember who earned his respect and who didn't. Not everyone passed the test. Some actors clashed, some crossed him, some just never impressed him. And when that happened, Arnold didn't shout, he didn't retaliate, he just removed you from the equation. Conan the Barbarian, Terminator, Predator, True Lies. His career was forged in chaos, but even in the biggest explosions he never lost control. He didn't just share the screen, he studied who was worth sharing it with.
10 years, and after 10 years I feel like it's enough, you know? You have to let other people have a chance.
And when he gave someone a second chance, he made sure they earned it. But most, they didn't get that luxury.
It was actually my first movie that made domestically over $100 million, and it was a comedy, not an action movie.
He's worked with dozens, but only a few became part of the inner circle. The rest faded or got pushed out. Here are the 6 actors Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't stand, on set, off set, or ever again, and why they never made it back. Number 1. Bruce Willis. Some rivalries start as jokes. Arnold and Bruce started as business partners and ended in silence. Bruce Willis wasn't just a co-star. At one point, he was part of the same machine. Planet Hollywood, red carpets, shared sound bites. But behind the camaraderie, there was tension. Old school versus new school. Discipline versus ego. Arnold once said, "Some actors lift the scene, some just lift their voice." Their styles couldn't have been more different. Arnold came from structure, reps, sets, order. Bruce was loose, improvisational, raw in a way Arnold found messy. On The Expendables, things came to a head. Willis was originally signed on for the 3rd film, but after reported demands for a higher paycheck and a reduced shooting schedule, everything collapsed. Arnold took it personally. When asked why Bruce had exited, Arnold tweeted just one word: greedy. Stallone tried to smooth things over, but the damage was done. Arnold had stepped in to replace him, not just in the movie, but in the cast's chemistry. Behind the scenes, crew members said the set was instantly lighter. There was no dramatic fallout, no interviews, just distance. In a press conference, Arnold was asked if he missed working with Bruce. He smiled, then said, "Not everyone is built for teamwork." He didn't elaborate, he didn't have to.
So was with Harrison Ford or Mel Gibson and others that were on the top in their career.
The two never co-starred again. They were rarely seen together after that. Even at Planet Hollywood anniversaries, Bruce often skipped them. Arnold stayed focused, on schedule, on mission. He wasn't interested in set drama, he was interested in results. In private, crew said he kept things respectful, but he was done offering second chances. He valued structure, timing, discipline. He once said, "When someone stops showing up, so does my interest." Bruce's style was too loose, too self-directed, and eventually too expensive. Arnold didn't cut ties with a speech. He just stopped picking up the phone. They came up together, they broke box offices together, but in the end, only one of them kept showing up on time. Number 2. James Cameron. Some directors bring order. James Cameron brought control. When Arnold signed on for True Lies, it was a reunion. He and Cameron had already changed Hollywood with The Terminator, but by 1994 things were different. Bigger budget, bigger pressure, bigger egos. And for the first time, Arnold felt like a guest on his own set. He once said, "The director is the captain of the ship, but I'm not built to be a passenger." Cameron wasn't just directing scenes, he was orchestrating chaos. Multiple cameras, months of prep, long shoot days. Arnold liked structure. Cameron liked obsession. And while the film turned out to be a hit, the experience left cracks. On set, Cameron reportedly pushed actors to their limits. He wanted perfection. Arnold wanted efficiency. He came prepared, hit his marks, and moved on. Cameron didn't move on until every detail was flawless. In one interview after the film's release, Arnold was asked what the hardest part of the shoot was. He paused, then said, "Waiting." The tension never exploded, but it was there, in long silences, in quiet stares between takes, in the look Arnold gave when a scene got reshot for the 5th time.
Will you press the button for the top floor, please?
They made it through True Lies, but they never made another film together. Even as sequels were floated and fans asked for reunions, nothing ever materialized. Cameron kept building worlds. Arnold went back to franchises that moved faster, cleaner. He never publicly criticized Cameron, but he never pushed for another collaboration either. One reporter once asked if he and Cameron might work together again. Arnold smiled and said, "It depends on how long he wants to shoot one scene." There was no fallout, just fatigue. Arnold admired vision, but not when it came at the cost of momentum. He didn't dislike Cameron, but he didn't need Cameron either. And after True Lies, he proved it. Number 3. Richard Gere. Some feuds go public, others stay behind closed gym doors. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Richard Gere only crossed paths a few times, but one of those encounters reportedly ended in silence that lasted decades. The story floats in Hollywood like a myth. 2 young stars, one martial arts studio, an argument that turned physical, no charges, no cameras, just tension that never got resolved. Arnold once said, "I don't start fights, but I remember who does." Their personalities never matched. Gere was distant, methodical, image-focused. Arnold was open, disciplined, and intensely physical. On screen, they never worked together. Off-screen, they never spoke again. During the 1980s, they were both rising fast. Gere with American Gigolo and Pretty Woman, Arnold with Predator and The Terminator. Both were leading men, but Arnold never saw Gere as a peer. In a mid-90s interview, when asked about which actors he admired, Arnold listed several, then paused and said, "There are some actors who look the part. That's where it ends." Years later, Stallone added fuel to the fire. He claimed in an interview that Arnold and Gere had to be separated during a group lunch, and that a leftover grudge over a studio contract may have been the root. Arnold never confirmed it, but he never denied it either.
When you did Conan, and you had the kind of love scenes, you didn't seem too comfortable at that time. Are you getting more comfortable with that?
Oh,
now this movie, I understand, in Total Recall.
Behind the scenes, Gere reportedly removed his name from a shared event when he learned Arnold would be in attendance. Publicly, nothing was said. But the distance became standard. They moved in different circles, award shows, charities, even gym sponsorships. But their names never landed on the same cast sheet. Arnold liked actors who respected the room, the pace, the focus. Gere moved differently, too careful, too distant. When asked in a 2000s press junket about actors he didn't click with, Arnold smirked and said, "Sometimes energy just doesn't align. That's okay. You just keep your distance." For Arnold, that distance never closed, and Richard Gere never stepped into his world again. Number 4. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Not all rivalries are public. Some start in a flexed silence. In the 90s, Jean-Claude Van Damme was rising fast, billed as the next big thing in action. But Arnold didn't see a successor. He saw a threat, one he never took seriously. They never worked together, never shared a set. But behind the scenes, the competition was personal. Van Damme wanted what Arnold had: box office dominance, franchise power, and global control. And for a while, studios were happy to stir the rivalry. But Arnold never took the bait. One insider remembered him saying, "He's not competition, he's choreography." The comparison bothered him. Arnold trained with military discipline. Van Damme trained for spin kicks. That wasn't disrespect. It was a difference in philosophy. They nearly came face to face on Predator. Van Damme was originally cast as the creature, but the role quickly collapsed. due to clashes with the crew, scheduling issues, and Van Damme reportedly walking off set. Arnold didn't speak about it publicly, but later interviews made his stance clear. In a press event for T2, Arnold was asked about the new generation of action stars. He smiled and said, "Some of them look great doing backflips, but they don't last." He didn't need to name names. The two appeared together years later, at events, panels, red carpets, but the energy was cold. Photos exist, friendship didn't. Van Damme tried to rebuild the bridge. He gave interviews saying Arnold inspired him, called him a legend. Arnold responded once, with a nod, and nothing else. Later, when asked about actors who try too hard to impress, Arnold said, "I notice when someone's watching themselves too closely, it gets in the way of the work." That was Arnold's final word, a polite dismissal, quiet, sharp, and irreversible. Jean-Claude Van Damme wasn't hated, but he was never welcomed. And in Arnold's world, that's all it took. Number 5. Steven Seagal. Some actors try to act tough, others don't need to try. Steven Seagal came into Hollywood with confidence and a target already painted on his back. He made enemies fast. But when it came to Arnold, the tension wasn't loud, it was subtle and permanent. Seagal reportedly trashed Arnold behind the scenes, called him not a real martial artist, said he was just a bodybuilder. But Arnold didn't respond. He didn't need to. He once said, "Real power doesn't talk about itself." In the early 90s, Seagal's name was suddenly everywhere. A-list premieres, martial arts magazines, studio hype. But Arnold kept his distance. Not once did he share a stage, a scene, or a spotlight with him. In interviews, Seagal would name drop. He'd make comparisons. He'd take subtle shots. Arnold never bit. At a press event in 1991, a reporter asked if Arnold considered Seagal a rival. Arnold reportedly laughed and said, "Only if we're competing in slow motion." From that point on, the divide was public, but not mutual. Seagal kept pushing, Arnold kept moving. They were once booked at the same charity event. Arnold reportedly asked to change the seating chart, quietly, without making it an issue. That was his style.
That's
Do you know
okay.
what? In one word only, how did a small-town boy from Austria become one of the most famous people on Earth?
Why do you want me to say it in one word?
Years later, when asked if he respected Seagal's work, Arnold replied, "He's made a lot of movies, that's all I'll say." No insult, but no praise either. Arnold's issue wasn't ego, it was attitude. He valued preparation, patience, respect for crew. Seagal had a reputation for the opposite, on sets, in interviews, behind closed doors. Where Arnold was calculated, Seagal was chaotic. Where Arnold built trust, Seagal burned bridges. And once Arnold saw that pattern, he stayed far away. There were no collaborations, no reconciliations, and no interest in changing that. Steven Seagal wanted to be taken seriously. Arnold simply didn't. Number 6. Tom Hardy. Sometimes it's not about what someone says, it's about the energy they bring into the room. Tom Hardy never had a fight with Arnold Schwarzenegger, no shouting match, no disagreement. But from the moment they crossed paths, Arnold kept his distance. It wasn't about talent. Arnold respected Hardy's work. What he didn't respect was the attitude. Hardy had a reputation, intense on set, hyper-focused, sometimes difficult. He came in with power and presence, but Arnold didn't see that as strength. He saw it as noise. He once said, "Intensity is good, but if it blocks the room, it's useless." The two were scheduled to appear on a panel together in 2015. Last minute, Arnold cancelled. No reason given. But behind the scenes, insiders say he wasn't interested in playing the mentor figure to someone who didn't want one. At another event, Hardy was asked which actors inspired him. He praised Brando, De Niro, even Stallone, but left out Arnold. When someone mentioned that to Arnold later, he replied, "He's intense, maybe too intense for a conversation." It wasn't shade, it was dismissal. They were nearly attached to a project together, a military thriller. Hardy was the lead, Arnold was offered a supporting role. He declined without comment. A crew member later said, "He didn't say no because of the script, he said no because of the vibe." They've shared stages, talked through press rounds, but the body language says everything. No chemistry, no warmth, just two men with very different codes. Arnold built his career on control. Hardy ran on unpredictability. The energy didn't mix. There was no public rift, no fallout. But in Arnold's world, you don't need drama to make a decision. Just a read of the room. And with Hardy, Arnold read it quickly. Arnold never raised his voice. He didn't argue. He just clocked you, then moved on. Some actors got under his skin, others never even made it that far. He wasn't interested in drama, he was interested in discipline. And if you didn't bring that, you didn't last. They weren't enemies. But they weren't allies either. Because in Arnold's world, respect wasn't handed out. It was earned through silence, consistency, and knowing when to shut up and do the work. So who else do you think rubbed Arnold the wrong way? Or nearly made the list? Drop your picks in the comments. And if you want access to the next round of Behind the Curtain stories, subscribe and join the channel. Because with Schwarzenegger, you don't hear the door slam, you just stop getting invited in.